Good morning. It's August 29th, 2024 on a Thursday. And I see there's 15 votes in the poll so far. We'll look at the poll results at the end of today's show. For now, I'm going to get started and dive right into it. The first topic in the title of the show is Ken Stout is corrupt. Well, because Ken Stout corrupt pictures from an email that he sent me yesterday. We're going to go look at that. Click over here. I've got it right here. He says, "Good evening, Doug."
John Williams said, "Hello, Doug."
Hello, John. I have a legitimate problem for once. Haha. You are legitimate or not. What? Okay, moving on. I plugged in a flash drive today to pull some photos from it, and I got the attached screenshot. I have tried in 3 different ports on the USB hub, as well as plugging directly into the motherboard, and the results are the same. I am not sure if this is something you would be interested in. Yes, it is, or not, but I really hate to lose all these photos. I tried to include all the needed info for this on the snapshot for you. Now I'm going to first tell a story on myself, an embarrassing story on myself. Well, I'll show you the picture first. Then I'll tell the embarrassing story on my shelf. So there's what he showed me. So I looked over this. I saw file names. I saw SAM Data E drive. I saw what looks to be File Explorer folders over here. I was a little annoyed he didn't give me more of the screen. This appears to be a Windows Explorer. And of course, I noticed a picture of that guy. So I sent him a response and said, right here, "I don't see what the problem is. You are showing me photos and videos on a thumb drive, so copy them to your computer. What's the problem?" Did you guys see the problem? I truly did not see the problem. I'll give you another chance. Do you see the problem there? And he replies with kindness and patience. I will give him that. "If you look, Doug, you didn't even look. Some of the photos are whole, while some have strips on them." Strips? Stripes? I'm not sure what she meant. "I tried to copy it to my computer and the results are the same. The only thing I have not done is try on the new build."
Brian Lightfoot said, "Doug, do you want to try my glasses?"
No, I don't look at the contents of photos. I get around my clients' computers, whatever they have on their wallpaper, whatever they might have in their folders or documents. I don't look at the content. That's kind of is it a privacy thing or is it just that I don't care? I don't know which it is. But yeah, the content of these photos, they're corrupt. I'm using the word corrupt. That's my word, not his. Well, that's the word I applied to it. And he says, "Quick update. I tried it in the new build. It recognized there was a problem and asked to repair, which I did. However, it did not fix the issue." Yeah, so when you plug the thumb drive in, the computer said there's a problem with that. Whatever it did to fix it did not solve the problem, which is not a surprise. And then, I said, "You should stop trying until you hear my thoughts on it." And he says, "I've already set the drive aside. Great minds think alike? Question mark. Not necessarily. Because there's plenty of great minds in this channel, and we don't always think alike on these things. I'm calling this a corruption. I think that these files got corrupted."
Al J said your saturation is low.
What is saturation? Are you saying my volume is low? Are you referring to the pictures? I don't know what you mean by saturation there, Alice. I know it's obvious to you, but I don't know the context that you're using that word. So I'm calling that corruption. It could be when those files were copied to the thumb drive. Color saturation. So my color saturation. Okay, I'll go check on this and see.
LJ said screen looks very light blue.
Very light blue. Let's see if I go over here and make this. Oh yes, because I didn't change the white balance. I got to bring that up to 4933. There. Make it look like I've had some sun recently. So corruption. When they were first copied to that thumb drive, that could have been when the corruption occurred. Or maybe that thumb drive has been sitting on a shelf for a long time. Solid state storage Oh, here he is.
Ken
It's Ken.
Stout Live said at one time all photos were readable with no issues.
Okay, great. So at one time, all the photos on this thumb drive were readable without issues. Has it been on a shelf for a long time? Has it been a long time since you plugged it into a computer? Because solid state storage essentially refreshes, as I understand, not an expert, as I understand it, refreshes the what the media when it
Ken
has a power
Stoutlive said
applied.
yes, been sitting on my desk.
For how long? Sitting on your desk for 10 minutes? For 3 years? That makes a difference. Now, and regardless of the answer, then the next thing to talk about is the quality of that thumb drive. This is silicon we're dealing with. There's a thing called silicon lottery, a YouTube video that somebody referred me to recently. We talked about it during the show where it shows manufacturing of CPUs. And it's all the CPUs, whether they wind up being i3 or i5 or i7 or i9, they go through the same process on the same machines, the same original material.
Ken Stout Live said, let's say, a year. Maybe longer, yes, a year.
Are you trying to seduce me with that voice? Good grief. All right, a year, maybe longer. So the silicon lottery, when the CPUs are manufactured, they're tested at the end. And if you're a lucky chip, chip off the old block, if you're a lucky chip, then you perform really well and you're silicon, you're lucky.
Ken Stout Live said I do not sleep around. Sorry.
That's an inside joke from my appearance on the Ken Stout Live After Hours show. It wasn't broadcast live. We got into some interesting topics. So then, yeah, a good CPU might be an i9, but if it doesn't test very well, then it becomes an i7. If it doesn't test well enough, it'll be an i5. Now, when these inexpensive thumb drives are marketed through Amazon, we don't know the provenance. Okay, there's a word for Ken to go look up. We don't know the provenance of that silicon. Did they perhaps, somebody in that supply chain, buy that from manufacturing seconds? Not quite so good. And then label it a little bit better than it should be, than it ought to have been labeled. Ken, let us know in chat, what brand is this? That would be interesting. And where did you buy it? Is this a thumb drive that you've had around for a couple decades? And what size is it? What is the total size? Like to know that. And so the silicon lottery could be the reason why the data did not stay valid on this thumb drive. When you copy files to a thumb drive, if you care about those, you need to have a backup. Any files that you care about need to have a backup. Copying them to a thumb drive and deleting them from your computer.
Ken Stoutlive said sign it's in the screenshot, but it is called Sam Data. My sister bought it, no clue where she got it.
Okay. Yeah, here's Sam Data. So apparently that is the brand name of it. I don't really recognize
Martin
that.
Hogg said means history and story. Used in antiques a lot.
He's given us the definition for provenance. And ownership history, more particularly, whose hands it passed through. But anyway, getting on. Backups. If you care about that, it has to be on at least 2 different places. And depending on the situations, maybe even more, because my business clients, I have backups with sometimes on a partition inside the computer, an external drive, a cloud system, and the external drives all rotate out. So there could be lots of copies depending upon how important that data is to you. I'm assuming, Ken, you don't have any backup. These pictures don't exist anywhere else. Or if they do, maybe they're all spread out in different folders and be very difficult to collect them. Now, what can we do about this? Again, not an expert in this arena, but here's my thoughts. And some of you are going to get all upset because I'm going to mention a name and a software product that you don't like because way back in history, a whole bunch of people got upset about how it was
Ken Stout
referred
Live
to.
said if I did move it to somewhere, I cannot find it. That was my bad.
Yeah, that was your bad, but we still have a glimmer of hope.
Ken Stout Live said Recover.
Well, Recover is a data recovery software, and there's lots of different data recovery softwares. My experience with them is that where they shine is when you cannot get a listing of the file names. You don't actually see the files present. Maybe its drive's been reformatted, the file allocation table is damaged. And my experience with recovery softwares is they will find the files that are actually on the media and then give you access to those files. But as far as fixing the data contained inside those files, I have not experienced that with consumer grade recovery software. $300 data recovery. When I went through that process with them a couple times, my recollection is that they would come up with a list of file names that they could recover, but the content of the file, the quality of the content of the file, if I remember correctly, they make no warranties about. Meaning if you find that it is corrupted, that's the end of the story for them. A product that can deal with that when the content inside the file is damaged. All right. Viewer discretion is advised. Click the mute button if you know what I'm going to say and you just don't want to hear it. SpinRite from Steve Gibson, the new version that is now available, and I have access to it. I haven't used it yet. It does SSDs. It does thumb drives. There are stories of it being able to fix corrupted files. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Now, my offer, Ken's already sent me a drive. I think it was a spinning drive that needs to be run through SpinRite to see if it'll work for that. I haven't got around to that yet. Maybe time to do that. Now, the process, if I were to go down this road and if Ken wants me to give it a try, is he sends that to me by mail. And before actually trying it, maybe before he sends it to me, I want to get on to the Discord channel for SpinRite and ask them about this particular symptom and does it have a shot at being able to fix that. Brian Lightfoot says Sam Data manufacturer is Sosun Tech. Yeah, but we don't know whether they are taking factory seconds from someone else. They are likely not manufacturing these themselves. Remember that video about the CPU manufacturing process? The thumb drive manufacturing process and making the chips that go into a thumb drive enclosure, they don't, all these manufacturers, they don't, I highly doubt that they actually have all that equipment themselves. They're buying it somebody else's product. John Downey likes Steve Gibson. Thank you, my friend. There are some around here who get their feathers ruffled when I bring up SpinRite. So are those all of my thoughts? Yeah, need to do backups, files you care about. And I think the only thing that I think has a shot at this is SpinRite. And it depends upon how damaged it is. Okay, now here I'm going to hit a new Stream Deck buttons I have. This is going to start an ad break and then give you a message in chat. Some of you may watch the ad break, some not, and it tells you what SpeakerBot commands to give me. Give me an exclamation mark A if you're going to watch the ads, exclamation mark B when the ads are done.
Martin Hogg said, if backup is vital, many businesses have 2 copies on tape or disk. 1 copy kept on site and another sent off site in case the building burns down.
Yeah, isn't that what I explained that I do?
Success. And I and Stout Live said yes. Says and first Mrs. K got an an full watch.
Okay, but that's not what the instructions said for you to do, Ken. I pointed out that in the chat, let's see, where is it? There should be DougBot. Oh, ad break. If you watch the ad, then put an exclamation mark A in chat. When the ad finishes without skipping, put an exclamation mark B in the chat. If an ad starts and you skip it, put exclamation mark C in the chat. Thanks for helping track this, because I don't want people doing that.
Ken Stout Live says watching ad.
Yeah, So that's what the exclamation mark A did.
Ken Stout Live says ad complete.
And that ad says the ad's complete. Okay, I don't know if that's going to turn out to be a good way to do it, but anyway, that's what I'm trying. And during that time, my intention is to go fix that piece of the title, because other people that see the thumbnail and title, Ken Stout corrupt isn't going to mean anything to them. USB corrupt. CORRUPT, I think. Okay, so then we're going to go on to the PineAppleRoad story. Save that, because I know the ad break is done. The PineAppleRoad story, I think, was on channel comments. Yes. And actually, that brings me to this page. Before I start that story, I'm going to deal with the other comments on here. So, and I'll give them a timestamp to this point right here, particularly for Stoich Koviven and Frog Queenie.
Ken,
Those are
Stout
the two
Live
that are
said,
new.
well, there goes my career in politics. I'm corrupt.
Yeah, we all knew that. So for Stoich, I'm going to call you Stoich, and Frog Queenie. Those are two names I don't think I recognize as being around before. So I want to let you know that we are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for a half an hour, and on Saturdays for 2 hours to respond to questions. You can send questions in the chat room. You can send questions by comments on any of my videos. You can send an email to me at this address that's showing on the screen right now. And I'll hit those two right off the bat. So Stoich says, thank you for this information, bless. And that was Windows blue screen of death issue and showing what the error was, and it was due to a March update. So apparently that helped. Ooh, I already put a you're welcome. Ivan? 3 years ago? Oh no. How did that come up with 3 years ago? This is, am I on the right page? If I go to channel comments, how did that come up there? That's old. Okay, I'm not going to send him a timestamp because he'll say, what is this? This guy's nuts. Why did that show up? All right, moving on. Frog Queenie. On the Windows 10 home drive, encryption is on by default. Says, let's zoom in here. Just went through the exact same process trying to make sense of device encryption versus BitLocker. Thank you for confirming what I thought with great detail. You are so welcome. I will send you a timestamp to when I first started this segment, and then I'm continuing on. Tom K says good info regarding the show that was the last show, I think. And I don't need to send him a timestamp because he's around here often enough. Matthew Barnes is also around here often enough. I won't send him a timestamp. I'm probably going to trigger Jim and Catherine and probably many others in his community. Let's see there. But I like HP. Yeah, I said it. Now let me clarify. I'm not talking about the 300 pound HP laptop or desktop that folks pick up from PC World, UK Computer Store, but the HP Elite Desk, Elite Tone 800 series devices. My experience has been solid, but as always, your mileage may vary. Thank you for that. Matthew Barnes, thumb up and a heart. Okay, I'm going to do the thumb up and heart for Frog later. And then Jim, thumb up and heart. Every time I see spinning metal in a PC, I cringe. How old is that? And that was regarding that Dell Optiplex computer that is over there on the floor. I still have not got around to checking on his OneDrive to see if I get his data from there. And then later he says, oh, at 40 minutes, 20 seconds, it's 10 years old. Lucky it lasted that long. Thank you for the comment, Jim. Now, let's get to PineAppleRoad story. Let's see. I want to go to, where would I, looking for another button. Never mind my distraction there. He says, what's a good level here? I recently had a weird Wi-Fi issue to deal with, which made me want to rip my hair out. An alarm system suddenly decided it couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. Went into the Wi-Fi settings on the keypad. It was able to detect the Wi-Fi network, but it couldn't connect to it. I was going to try connecting to a different Wi-Fi network, which is broadcast by the ISP's box, but it couldn't even detect that one. I eventually ended up reinstating the mesh Wi-Fi thing that I took out a few months prior. It's essentially a second wireless router which can function as a mesh node, and the uplink to the main router is through Ethernet, and it grabs the Wi-Fi configuration from the main router. And I had to undo a mistake I made over 4 years ago, unrelated to Wi-Fi networks. And I had to help someone set up a secondhand 2015 MacBook Air that was purchased to replace a Windows laptop that had battery problems. Before anyone says about replacing the battery, I don't know if it would have been possible on that model, and I wasn't the one making the decision to replace it. I just hope I don't get asked to provide support for Chrome operating system, Chromebooks, Windows, macOS, and Linux. Only certain distros is enough for me. Yeah, with this part about maybe impossible to replace the battery, but they already made the decision. Hey, let's just get a new laptop. Once they make that, that's like the car salesman. Once you've made the sale, stop talking. If they decide they want to replace it, stop trying to make it cheaper. If they accept that, replacement is good. But I had a couple comments here. The alarm suddenly decided it couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. I have many times where a laptop or a cell phone can't connect to a Wi-Fi that it used to connect to. Well, we tell it to forget this connection and then set up the connection from scratch. If it's a remembered connection, it might need to delete that connection, forget that connection, and recreate it. Why would this happen? Possibly because of an update on the router. Might be an issue. There's, let's see, what other possibilities? Also, things that happen on laptops and computers is the Wi-Fi just might not work anymore. You need to replace it. Use a USB Wi-Fi, for instance, but you can't do that on the alarm system. And what else could we do? Perhaps do a full reset on the router. The alarm system needs to detect it as a new Wi-Fi system. Now, when he said that he used this reinstated a mesh Wi-Fi thing, technical term there, thing, or sometimes called thingy, or thingamabob. Those are all mean the same thing. Took out a few months prior. So when you put that back in, the implication here is that it worked. It doesn't actually tell us that, but I think it's safe to assume that it did. Now, that would have been broadcasting the same SSID, so that's not quite the same as deleting it and reconnecting it. However, that mesh access point would have a different hardware ID, and because of that, it might do a more thorough reset of the connection. I'm not sure. So those are just my thoughts. Let's see if the chat room comes up with some other ideas on that. I'm going to hit the ad break again. So there's exclamation mark A if you're going to watch it, exclamation mark B when it's done, exclamation mark AB if you're going to skip it. There's the ad break hit. And then, oh, there's the instructions. I should have hit the instructions before I start talking them through, because now I'm going to go change this part of the title. I want to do it from there. Let's zoom this down a little bit. During an ad break, I'm not going to cover any significant stuff. So let's see. This is a Wi-Fi failure, because that's what we're talking about. Is when you have
Steve
a
McCure
Wi-Fi
says,
failure.
I ain't watching no stinking ad.
When you have a Wi-Fi failure, what are you going to do? Ghostbusters. What you going to do? And then OneDrive is next. I don't know if anybody's going to tell me when the ad break is finished, because nobody said an exclamation mark Y indicating that they're going to watch it. So I'm just going to go on to the next. And actually, I've got something else that happens on a on that exclamation mark B. So I'm going to put one in myself.
Live Windows Training DougBetts says ad complete.
Okay, so next story is OneDrive to the rescue. Yes, have a OneDrive situation that I worked on the last couple of days, including from the cabin. We'll be working on it more today. But OneDrive is the solution to this environment. What happens is there's a QuickBooks problem where this company has had a lot of turnover and the bookkeepers aren't getting sufficiently trained. The way they transfer the QuickBooks company file from the staff to the CPA monthly for them to enter the monthly journal entries. What we do is we copy it from one OneDrive folder to a second OneDrive folder. That second OneDrive folder, the CPA has access to. So at their convenience, they can then copy it over to their system, but my client is free to go ahead and use the QuickBooks company file, knowing that they are going to have to re-enter anything that they enter during the time when the CPA has theoretical possession of the company file. Well, they were sending it to the CPA, okay, but then the CPA would copy, after they put in their journal entries, they would copy it back to that CPA folder in OneDrive. And then they would tell my client that they're done, they're ready to go. What my client's supposed to do, and they've been failing to do during the last few months because they didn't train the new person right, they're supposed to copy that back into the working folder. Instead, they just started continued working in QuickBooks, figuring that, okay, it's all there. We're all good. Well, it was discovered a few days ago, and during the halfway through July, the auditor did the end of year journal entries, and that's harder to recover from. So what we get with OneDrive is every time my client works on that QuickBooks file, it gets uploaded to OneDrive and it becomes a version. I can go into OneDrive and I can restore any version over the last few months. Every time they go into that company file and then exit it, it goes up to OneDrive. So it's like doing a backup every single time you exit the program without the user having to click to do a backup. So this is saving a massive amount of work and frustration. They're still going to have to re-enter everything from July 17th forward, which doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. And we will use the most recent version of that QuickBooks company file and print out reports so they have a list of all the things that they need to re-enter. But without OneDrive, it may not have been as easy. With backups, here's the reason why I like OneDrive for this better than a backup software. A backup software was going to take longer to restore each version because I got to go back, find the backup file for all of the data, find the file I want, and restore it. Whereas with OneDrive, you just right-click on the file right there in File Explorer and use version history, and boom, it shows you all the versions. You click on the one you want, and then click on Restore, and boom, it's there. Really quick and easy. Charlie Angel, hello, Charlie says, perhaps they should use a version software such as Git. That's way too complex for these folks. The OneDrive does it. Why fix something that's not broke? With Git, they're going to have to do an extra, they're going to have to learn how to use it. No, these are not technical people. All right, I'm going to go do something here. I think, did that cover all of that? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do another ad break. And then here's the ad break, and then here's the instructions. And go change the title. OneDrive fixes
Ken Stout Live says watching
QB.
ad.
Thank you, Ken. Well, he didn't hear me say that because he's watching the ad right now. Oh, yes, it is happy episode 500. Thank you, Frosty Winnipeg, for reminding me with a $5 super chat. Awesome. Thank you. I need to get some kind of a speaker bot to announce that. Let's see. OneDrive fixes QB. And I'll save that.
Ken Stout Live said, I heard you. I watch on 2 different accounts.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And there was another piece that I was going to do there.
Brian Lightfoot said, Boing, I didn't see any ad.
Oh, all right. Now, if you're telling me that, Brian, can I assume that you don't have an ad blocker? If you have an ad blocker, there's no point telling me that you didn't see the ad. That's not helpful. I am seeing a refresh. I don't have any drop frames. Okay. There it is again. It's stuck.
Ken Stout Live said at Brian Lightfoot got him.
Oh, that's because I wasn't live. Brian Foot got him. Got him. I think you're messing with me. I think Brian has a ad blocker. Greg Guy, no ad. I'm using ad blocker. Yeah, don't bother telling me that you're not getting an ad if you're using an
Yes,
ad blocker. That's not helpful. Brian says yes, he has an ad blocker. Yeah, so no, I don't need to hear that you didn't get an ad if you have an ad blocker. That's not what I'm trying to try. Okay, so OneDrive fixes GoDaddy phishing is next. There was something that I was going to do during that ad break, and I'm not remembering it. Refresh symbol again. Oh yeah, now I remember. Now I remember what I was going to do. Coming in here to customization, live commentary. If there's anybody watching right now that is unable to chat because I have live commentary mode, I'm going to turn that off so that you have to at least be a subscriber for 1 minute and you can participate in chat. I'm going to go ahead and try that for the rest of this little bit of overtime. Then GoDaddy phishing. You know what? I'm already at the end of the show. I think I'll skip that and save that for another time. That doesn't have to go now. TV fix. I'll save that also. Let's go over to the poll. And the reason why I'm cutting that down to the scheduled time is because I have I've got a few client jobs today that are kind of heavy duty. That QuickBooks issue and the replacement computer for this client that had the bad drive, and a office that needs an upgrade to a new version of an accounting software. I can't even remember what it's called right now. Thank you again, Frosty Winnipeg, for the $5 super chat. I'm going to look at the oranges. Anything that came to me with exclamation mark D, I've already heard and responded to. Thanks for the saturation alert. Looking for orange.
And oh, that changed my voice to Blake voice. I'm going to try to give better enunciation when those voices come up.
I might go on to the Ken Stout show last night and talk about my thoughts about voice mod and whether I'm going to drop it or not. And it's got a little bit of a reprieve from this morning. Greg Guy, morning Doug, and all in chat just got up 11 a.m. Eastern time, 89 degrees here in Maryland. Good morning, Greg. And then John Williams, I sent you a picture of CPU overheat message. You can share if you want. All fixed now. Oh, yeah. All right, that's going to justify a little bit more.
Ken Stout Live said poll results.
Yeah, I will get to poll results. I want to get that John Williams picture. Here is the picture that he got. CPU overheating alert. Please check CPU cooler is firmly attached for working properly. This obviously comes from the BIOS startup, and that he got that fixed by replacing the CMOS battery. And my explanation for that is that the once the computer is turned on and it has the time or ability to reset BIOS back to some level of default settings, that it no longer got this. And this was a false alert because somehow whatever manufacturer default setting in the BIOS was not accurately reporting what the temperature sensor was showing. So yes, thank you for that. And this, I have not seen this particular message before, but this would have been right after turning the computer on before operating system shows up. And he can click OK, or he can click Don't Remind. Okay, looking for the rest of the oranges, then we'll get the poll. Thank you for sending that picture. Okay, whoops. Did I get through all of the oranges? Yeah, I did. Okay, so poll results. With 32 votes, 16% says I like it, don't drop it. Meh, I don't really care for it. 38%. Press eject button. Now. It's 47%. Voice. Okay, I'm going to give you a little piece of what might be the salvation. Is that it has these sound effects. I'm not crazy about the voice mod stuff.
John Williams said, thanks, Doug.
Yes, you're welcome. But these sound effects are intriguing. All the other places that I've seen for sound effects, they're just far more trouble to utilize them. But then I asked myself, will sound effects actually attract more of my target viewers to this channel? No, they won't. They're just more entertainment and more stuff for me to do. That's not bringing more people to the channel or not bringing them to the channel or keeping them here. So I don't know. I've got, I think, about a week longer on my refund period. I paid the full price so that rather than a subscription amount, it's refundable within 30 days. End the poll. Okay, that'll do it. Did I get this use command right? Oh, you just, no. All right. Yeah, commands are paused. And then here, you can watch this video, see how to get free support through this YouTube channel. This video to see how to get paid support from me directly in private sessions. This video to see how to troubleshoot your improved experience by participating in this channel. And this is a recent video on my channel. I can't say this stuff straight. Have a good day.